My name is Francesca Simmons, and I'll be giving a presentation on the effects of transformational leadership, teaching methods to prepare and build 21st century workforce skills in rural secondary education schools. So, redefining education, diversity, innovation, and leadership in rural area schools are key essentials for the effects of transformational leadership and teaching methods. This assists in building 21st century workforce skills for rural secondary school educators and students. So, redefining traditional methods is necessary to implement a more sustainable school and community. So, the ripple effect. Systemic impact of schools in rural settings gives cycle of disadvantage. There is a perpetual cycle of disadvantages that limit access to quality funding to promote sustainable educational growth for students. It also gives the lack of resources often that leads to a talent drain as skilled educators leave for better opportunities in more metropolitan areas. More often in higher populations, their competitive salaries and professional development is supported. And then there's teacher dissatisfaction. This stems from inadequate support and challenging working conditions in rural areas. And then there are economic threats, which jeopardize community sustainability, impacting future workforce development and growth. So, a couple of research questions for this problem. What specific strategies or techniques, for example, professional development, distributing resources, goal setting, do transformational leaders utilize to incorporate 21st century workforce competencies into the primary educational curriculum of rural area schools? And second, how are the educator evaluations of their school principals' transformational leadership style influenced by their willingness to alter the curriculum and address problems related to equity and diversity in their classrooms and the core content that they teach? So, some possible solutions: leadership integration, influence on equity, and behavior shaping. Investigate how leadership practices can enhance collaboration and inclusion among educators within rural educational communities. For example, alternative educators, those that come out of the workforce, so they don't necessarily start in undergraduate school in education, but they actually go back into education to promote sustainable growth. So, the influence on equity: analyze the role of leadership in promoting equitable educational opportunities for all students, have more inclusivity in the educational experience, and behavior shaping. Explore how effective leadership influences academic curriculum among educators in rural classrooms when included in the conversation of implementation. So, what does that look like? The implementation of transformational leadership in education. It looks like idealized influence, intellectual stimulation, inspirational motivation, where that motivation encourages shared vision, which inspires collective engagement among the educators and students. Intellectual stimulation, promoting critical thinking, nurtures innovative ideas. And the idealized influence, leading by example, which fosters trust and respect. So, fostering transformational leadership provides communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, learner centered, focus approaches, and of course, teaching. So, with communication, it enhances student engagement. With collaboration, it encourages students to work together, developing essential teamwork skills. Critical thinking equip students with problem-solving abilities, enabling them to analyze information and make informed decisions. Creativity, encouraging creativity, allows students to explore their ideas and express themselves, which leads to innovative solutions and unique perspectives. And learner-centered approaches. It shifts the focus to students' needs and interests. And teaching, innovative teaching strategizes that prioritize student involvement, creating dynamic learning environments. However, when we don't have these aspects in place, this provides gaps in transformational leadership, where it limits the studies, giving significant lack of comprehensive studies focusing on rural school leadership practices, and potential remains unexplored, limiting innovative practices in rural education, meaning implementations and methods aren't permitted. So if they aren't permitted, then you have a traditional style that's consistently moving in a cycle, not giving room for growth. So there are mixed methods of quantitative and qualitative methodologies. So explanatory design, combining quantitative and qualitative methods to enhance research depth and insight, and quantitative phase, where the initial phase collects numerical data to establish patterns and trends in the research focus. So, data collection methods that are most effective for research, semi-structured interviews where the format is flexible and it encourages dialogue among the educators to improve the goals for growth. And then there are focus groups. So after you have obtained that dialogue, then you have collaborative discussions that enhance the creative problem solving method. And thematic analysis. This gives familiarization, categorization, and geometric flow. With the familiarization, researchers immerse themselves in the data, gaining a comprehensive understanding of the collected information. And categorization is where codes are grouped into categories, organizing data into meaningful clusters that reflect common themes or patterns. So, what's most essential in giving a solution to the problem? And then, lastly, the geometric flow. It's a visual flow diagram that illustrates the progression through each step that you have categorized, enhancing clarity in the analysis process. So, in conclusion, diversity, innovation, and leadership in rural area schools are key essentials for the effects of transformational leadership in teaching methods to prepare and build 21st century workforce skills for rural secondary school educators and students. So, when all stakeholders align, they embrace transformational leadership, ensuring that future generations can acquire 21st century workforce skills in a constantly evolving workforce. The experiences will last a lifetime and encourage the promotion of the community and the school. This gives positive reinforcement of full engagement and support of the school administrators, faculty, staff, students, parents, and business stakeholders, creating a tight-knit community. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Francesca Simmons, and this is my proposal presentation on transformational leadership.